All right, guys, here's a quick video going over the mounting instructions for an Elk Rod. Every package is going to have this hardware right here. You're going to have your backer plate, your mounting screws, the rod, and the 4mm Allen key that adjusts the angle. The rest of this is optional or required. This nut is for securing the plaque. If you order a plaque, this will come with it, which mounts onto the backer plate. This over here is our support bracket. This is going to be used for bulls that might be lopsided, broken, uneven, or even the antler tech skulls that people can use with shed antlers. And then over here is what you guys will need to provide to mount the rod, and that's just 2 crescent wrenches to tighten the jam nut. The first step in this mounting process is getting our backer plate mounted to the wall. Please make sure that this is mounted in a stud. We don't want to risk any failure with drywall. The next step is optional. That is if you order a plaque to go with it. If that's the case, you're just going to mount it on the hole, pop it in there. You'll also be supplied with this mounting nut. You're going to screw it on. And the whole purpose of this is to hold it firm so you don't have to deal with tightening the rod and aligning the plaque at the same time. So you're going to want to make sure it is level, tighten it on there. You can either hand tighten it, or you can even take a crescent wrench if you need to and tighten it down, but right now hand tight's fine. Once that's mounted, you're then going to grab the rod. It's probably going to be shipped with this jam nut loose, so back that all the way up against the rod. That's going to allow you then to thread this onto the backer plate. You'll thread this all the way on until it makes contact. Once it makes contact, the rod's going to be crooked. That's fine. You'll then come over here, straighten it out, and you'll take the jam nut and just hand tighten it to where it's tight on the backer plate, but also putting tension on here. This does not need to be perfectly level because every bull's different. You'll straighten this out at the end. After that's on, you're then going to take the 2 crescent wrenches. Once again, the crescent wrenches are not provided. They're just typical household wrenches that most people should have. And then you're going to come over here and tighten. Let me get a closer up view for you. Okay, after hand tightening, you're then going to take the crescent wrenches and get it officially tight. You're going to take this left one, put that in the rod. All this is going to do is make sure that this is straight. The second one is going on the jam nut. This is what's going to tighten. It's tightening on the backer plate. It's also tensioning the rod out. That's what's going to keep it firm. For bulls that are lopsided, broken antlers, anything that might have an off center of gravity going left or right, antler tech skulls, you're really going to want to make sure this is tight. So hold it with the left, really firm it up with the right. All right, next step is getting the skull mounted. First thing you're going to notice is the notch on the rod. That notch is going to slide right into that groove on the back of the skull. So you're going to slide it on, angle it up, it goes right in that notch. Notice I'm using an antler tech skull. It's pretty much exactly the same as a normal one, so there's not going to be much of a difference. The only thing you're going to see is that this is angled slightly back towards the wall. A regular bull might do that as well. Good thing is we have angle adjustment. So you're going to grab your 4mm Allen key. You're going to come on the back right here of the rod. You're going to tighten, and that's going to give you that angle. You can see right here I've already tightened that. It gives you an angle. So you'll come over here underneath the skull, lift up on the skull a little bit. It's going to give you some leverage. It should only take a few turns, and this doesn't need to be exact because you'll probably adjust this at the end once everything's set, but it just gives you a little bit better surface to work with. For skulls that are lopsided, broken, anything that might have an odd center of gravity left or right, you're going to want to order this support bracket. For antler tech skulls, you're definitely going to want to do this because it's going to make the antler mounting way easier. Just one screw. It's going to go on the top. There's a hole up on the top of the rod. Screw it in. That's going to be a 5mm Allen key right here. You're going to make sure this is tight. You'll see that it firms up, but still has more to go, and it's actually going to lift up on the skull. You'll see the rod lift up. That's fine. You're going to want to get that pretty firm. You don't need to crank down, but once you feel it bottom out, you're good. That's going to give you that stability. You're then going to hand tighten these little set screws. These do not need to be tight. These just need to be touching the skull. That gives it something to work with left or right. You'll see right there, it's firm. It's ready to go. At this point, you're almost done. If you have a real bull, the next step and final step is just straightening out that skull. As you can see, the nose is a little bit to the left. All you have to do is take the 2 crescent wrenches, as we discussed earlier, and straighten that out. The left is going to hold, is kind of set that angle, set where you need that. The right is going to tighten down on that jam nut. So you might have to loosen the jam nut a little bit to get that angle, but it's a simple process you can see here. So loosen that a little bit, and then you can set that angle. This might not be perfect, but you get the concept. Tighten down on that right one, and you're set. If you're using Antler Tech, you would do that same process, get that skull aligned to where you think it's pretty close, and then you would go through the process of mounting the antlers. You'd have to reference Antler Tech for the instructions for that. And you'll probably, once you get all those set, have to realign again because you're going to be using one antler at a time, and it might adjust it a little bit. But once again, all you have to use is the crescent wrenches. Okay, if you're mounting a real bull, you should be done. You don't need this last section. If you're mounting Antler Tech, you would have just gone through the process of getting the antlers aligned with their instructional video. And this step would just be the final step of getting the antlers on and the skull balanced where you need it. So you'll come over here, get these antlers on. The whole purpose of this design, the support bracket, will allow for easy adjustment of these. You can see you can put one antler on. You can adjust with their instruction how you need to do that. And you don't have to worry about the skull flip-flopping or trying to do this on the floor. So you get that left one on. Yes, it's going to be tilted to the left. It's a lot of mass. But you can adjust at the end. You get the right one on. Just like that. It'll level out a little bit. Take a step back. Mine looks pretty even right now. If yours is a little bit lopsided, you can kind of make sure this is set. But then lastly, you take the two crescent wrenches like in the last video, get that angle set. Oh, look at that. Just hit it on accident. Stayed firm. But you'll get that angle set, tighten down that jam nut, and you're good to go. If you need to as well, you can adjust that angle of the skull with the 4mm Allen key, and you're done. You shouldn't have to touch this ever again.